What's good, YouTube? It's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome, phenomenal, and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boston community. Shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. In this particular video, I'm going to give my full post-game reaction to Southern University's win over Alabama A&M this past Saturday. It was a 20-10 win. So I'm going to give my full post-game thoughts. Before I get into the video, let me shout out some people. First and foremost, let me shout out my brother, Jared O11 Green. Y'all go check out his channel. Him and I, sometimes on Fridays, sometimes on Sundays, we do the Southern Baller Show. We talk about swag football, talk about HBCU football. Some instances, we also get into NFL football. And in some instances, we touch on some boxing. All right. In addition to that, y'all also check out my brother Brent Fox. On his channel, he also talks about football. He talks about some boxing also. Usually he joins us in some instances on the Southern Baller Show. Also, shout out just to everybody in the LDBC. Major shout out to Cadillac Red Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. Also, shout out to some of our non-SWAC family members. Shout out to 86 Ghosts. Shout out to SWAC Talk. Probably one of the best one of the best SWAC YouTube channels here on YouTube. Also, shout out to SWAC and the Fool. You know, SWAC. Shout out to pretty much anybody covering SWAC and HBCU football and doing it in a major way. Now, in terms of my thoughts on this Saturday's game between Southern University and Alabama A&M, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to be truthful. I'm going to be brutally honest. I was thoroughly unimpressed with Southern's performance. To be truthful, if they play against a better opponent, a better caliber opposition, better caliber competition, Southern loses that game. You know, it's no other way for me to frame it, me to give you my honest assessment of the situation. You know, for the most part, I've been trying to have an optimistic perspective in terms of Southern football this year. They're thoroughly underachieving in my point. And from my perspective, when the season started, I'm going to be, you know, just honest. I thought, you know, they would struggle early. They would start out slow. And as the season progressed, they would gradually pick up steam and play better and better. They would get hot at the right time of year. And they would close the season out strong. And they would somehow win the SWAC championship. And then eventually go on the Celebration Bowl and hopefully win that. But the way things are looking, I hate to sound like a Debbie Downer, to be pessimistic. I really don't see that happening because overall there's no progression. First, let's start with, you know, the quarterback play in the offenses in general. First and foremost, in terms of the offensive line is unimpressive. You know, I'm used to Southern offenses in the past, just being able to just line up and run the ball and be effective. That's why Southern have so many running backs over the years that has been able to thrive and be successful. You know, we talking about running backs like Leonard Tillery, running backs like Melvin Williams Jr., Steve Warford, LaShawn Kenny Peebles. You know, I could just kind of, Lindsey Scott, I could just rattle them off like running back by running back. The reason why these running backs have had so much success is because Southern has had some good to great offensive lines over the years. For the most part, these offensive lines not really getting the job done. That's why Gary Quarles and Kendrick Rhymes are really not extremely successful in the passing game. Now, going to the passing game, one thing about Harold Blood, you know, of course, he had some experience under his belt. Last year he played, you know, he got some garbage time against Florida Memorial, Virginia Lynchburg, against those type of teams. But when he stepped up to the next level and he played against Jackson State in the SWAC championship game, he struggled. You know, coming into the season, the first couple of drives against Alabama State, He played decent for those first couple of drives, but thereafter he just was bad. No other way to put it. In terms of the home opener against Jackson State, again, he turned the ball over more than in terms of he had touchdowns. He had 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions in both games, the first 2 games. And he also had a fumble in both games. But, it seems as if he progressed from week 1 to week 2. And in my opinion, I thought he was just going to keep the ball rolling. He going against a weaker opposition. No disrespect to Alabama A&M, but they're not a power in the SWAC as we currently speak. This was a game, of course it was a winnable game, but they could have been a lot more impressive in terms of the way they performed. So Harold Blood, he didn't play well, in my opinion. He had a lot of underthrown passes. Even some of the passes he did complete, he underthrew receivers. And in other instances, he overthrew passes. So for the most part, in terms of the offense, if Harold Blood, if he doesn't throw some type of timing pattern like a curl, a comeback, sideline, slant, crossing route, if it's not something short and quick, where it's like a 3-step drop and he gets rid of the ball quickly, it's like he struggles anything beyond it. So in terms of him dropping back, going through his progression, making multiple reads during the course of one passing play, it's like he struggles with that. In many instances, he gets happy feet, and he panics even when there's no real pressure. And then in other instances, he holds the ball way too long and he gets sacked. He makes a good read, but it's too late, and the receiver's no longer open. So, just from a number standpoint, from a passing standpoint, of course, Harold Blood had 14 completions off of 24 attempts. He had 205 yards with an 8.5 average. He had 1 touchdown. He didn't have any interceptions. Noah Bodden came in the game, and he only had like 6 plays. He got sacked once. He went 1 or 2 for 23 yards. The crazy thing about it was like 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first half. Harold Blood threw a pass on the right sideline he threw that to Jalen Howard. And, of course, had he hit Jalen Howard in stride, Jalen Howard scored a touchdown. But he underthrew the pass. Jalen Howard had to stop, slow down, catch the ball. The defensive back tackled him. And on that same play, he got hurt. So Noah came in the game, Noah Bolton. So Noah came in the game, and the fans started cheering, which was the bad part. So he came in the game. Of course, he handed the ball off a couple times. Then the first play, he was actually able to pass the ball. He dropped back to pass. Pressure came, so he started backpedaling. He rolled right. I think he threw it to either Kendrick Grimes or Gary Quarles out the backfield. Positive play. The fans were excited about that. But for the most part, all he did was really hand the ball off. He got sacked once. He threw another pass. It ended up being like a one-hop. It looked like a completion from the stands, but many other fans were like, no, it's an incomplete pass. So for the most part, all he had was those 2 passes. He went 1 or 2. He completed the pass out the backfield to Gary Quarles. But for the most part, that was it. Harold Blood came back in the game. And, he was unimpressive. Now, to the defensive side of the ball, the defense had really been a bright spot in terms of the team. They hadn't really been able to play complementary football because the offense has been leaving the defense in a compromise situation far too often, leaving them on the field. But for Saturday's game, the defense just showed a complete lack of discipline. They had so many offside penalties, and most of the time, it's your guys up front, the front 4. Probably half of those instances is the person over the ball that just kept jumping all sides. And it's like, come on, man, y'all have so many bad plays in terms of just having a lack of discipline. Alabama A&M had so many free plays on offense where he would just clap and draw the defensive line off sides. He would have a free play. He would go down the field. And, of course, he knew it was a free play, so He had a lot of incompletions in terms of that. But Southern's defense, they jumped off sides way too much. Southern offense is inconsistent. They fumbled the ball on the 1-yard line in the first half. Of course, later on, Alabama A&M did the same thing later on in the game. Really and truthfully, had they played to their fullest potential, they would have blown Alabama A&M out. But give credit to Alabama A&M. At no point did they lay down, did they give up or quit. You know, for the most part, it was like a decent back-and-forth game. But overall, I wasn't impressed by their performance. They could have played a lot better. Had it been a better caliber of competition or opposition, Southern loses that game this past Saturday. In terms of the Coach Dooley situation, Southern has bye week this coming week. And after that, they play against Arkansas Pine Bluff. And then in a couple weeks, Alabama A&M, I'm sorry, not Alabama, Florida A&M. Florida A&M comes to A.W. Mumford Stadium. I'll be in attendance. It's going to be interesting to see because the way FAMU has been playing, the way Southern has been playing, that game could get real ugly real quick. If Southern suffers another loss at home, especially a blowout loss to FAMU, it's going to be interesting to see how the fans react because many fans are not pleased with Coach Dooley. They're not pleased with Hal Blood. And the fact that now more people are starting to talk about how Hal Blood and Coach Dooley are frat brothers in the same fraternity, same chapter, whatever the case may be. That's not a good look. You know, it kind of has the same remnants of the situation last year with Bashawn McCray. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. A lot of fans want Coach Dooley out. They want Harold Blood to no longer be the starting quarterback. And they want Southern University athletic director, former head basketball coach Roman Banks. They want him out too. So it just kind of remains to be seen how things play out. Hopefully Southern could turn things around. But just to be truthful, in my honest opinion, my honest assessment, I don't see it happening. And Southern really not in a financial position to really be able to get rid of Coach Dooley and pay him and pay another coach to be the future head coach while they're still paying him in terms of his buyout. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you liked the video. You saw any value in the video. Like the video. Share the video. Comment in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. Also click the notification bell so you can be alerted anytime I post any new videos. Any other video topics or ideas that you want me to touch on and address, just put it in the comment section. Hopefully y'all have a blessed and phenomenal day. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace and blessings.